in your own document, because that means it's more condensed, and because you wrote it, you know where to find the stuff, and you can just open it up during the test, and then you can just use that to help you answer the questions. And if you cannot find the information on your own sheets, then you can go to Moodle, and I'm not going to hide anything or delete any resources that are currently on Moodle. So you have everything that we have on Moodle right now, but it is helpful to have your own notes in the test. Okay. Any questions at this point? Any questions? Nope. Let me skip to number 3. Yep, go ahead.
How many questions are there? I'm sorry.
It will be about 5 like this. Okay. For the most part, I don't want people to run out of time, but I cannot guarantee that everybody will have enough time, because obviously that depends on how well prepared people are, and so on and so forth. Yep.
You mentioned that you're going to have a notepad file. Are we going to have to type something out, or is everything going to be?
I'm going to show you right away. I'm going to question number 3 right now. Okay. Now, question number 3 is one of those dreaded questions that some of you do not like. It is a pre and post condition thing, and this time it is going back first and then going forward next. Okay, which is similar in nature to the first exam, except you only get one question like this. All the other questions are not pre and post conditions. So for this type of question, you have a open area to edit your answer, which is better, okay? Because this way you don't have to save the file, upload it, which is a 2-step process. This one you just edit, okay? So let's just say that at this point, you look at the question and you go like, I don't know what to do with it, and you can just work on it a little bit, okay? Let's just say that we look at this question here. Okay, I have to kind of shrink the font because this is the only way I can show both the question and also the answer at the same time. So if you suspect that there's a precondition that you're suspecting, okay, let's say that, okay, so let's just say that we finish a little bit of this question, but not the entire thing, okay? So you can say, post 37 being x equals 28 means that post 36 is also like that, because post 36 goes to post 37 right away. Does that make sense? Because if I do get to line 36, then the end of line 36 will have the same condition as the end of line 37. Okay. And let's just say that at this point you just kind of feel that okay, this looks like it will take a lot more time than I want to deal with. What you can do is you can just save without submitting. But the other thing is, if you switch to another question, like if I click now, remember I have not clicked save without submitting for this question yet. Okay, if I go to click another question like this, it will automatically save it. Okay, if I go back to question number 3, you can see that it saved whatever I had already. Okay, so don't worry about that if you just want to jump between the questions, because as you jump, it will automatically save the answer of the previous one. Okay, it is the same effect as clicking save without submitting and then switching to another question. Are we doing okay? Okay. So now we can just go ahead and continue and finish up this one. Okay, so the first thing is this, okay? And then you can look at this and go like, but this is a conditional statement. Line 35 to line 37 is a conditional statement without an else, or you can say that the else is empty. So that means it is possible that x was not greater than 30, and as a result, I did not have to go through line 36. Isn't that possible? Okay, because the end result by the time I get to line 37 is that I know for sure that x equals to 28. But what if x already equaled to 28 on line 35? Then I don't have to go through line 36. Because the conditional statement will branch around, because if x equals to 28, it is not greater than 30. As a result, it will basically just jump around. So you can also say in this case, by the time we get to line 37, we have x equal to 28. Also means that pre-35 can be x equals 28. Is that okay? Okay. And then you can also look at post 36. Now, if post 36 is x equals to 28, then what is pre 36? Now, when you're going backwards, you don't have to use formal reasoning. In other words, you don't have to use substitution, forget it, stuff like that. You can just tell me what it is. If I know that after line 36, x has a value of 28, what is the value of x before line 36? 31. 31, right? Because after the subtraction it became 28. That means before the subtraction it must be 31. Okay, so let's write that down. And it's always a good idea if you want to, click save without submitting as many times as you want. Okay. So now that we know that there are two possible things now, because pre-35 can also be x equals 31. Is that making any sense? It can be 28. It can also be 31. Are we doing okay with this? Okay. So that means the precondition of line 35 is x equals 28 or x equals 31 because it can be one or the other. They will end up the same way by the time we get to line 37. Now, what do we do to push it back one more step? Well, because line 34 and line 35 are sequential, we can just say that if we know that pre-35 is this condition here, we can push it back and say that post-34 is exactly the same thing. Okay, because they're sequential.
Would that mean that post 33 would be the same thing?
Post 33, yes. Yep. So using the same reasoning, you can push it one more step and say, oh, so that means post 33 is exactly the same thing. Okay. If post 33 is the same thing, can I say something about pre-33? If I know that after line 33, x may have a value of 28 or 31, can I say something about what happened? What is the condition of x, or what is the value of x before the increment?
Yeah, 27 and 36.
Yep, 27 or 30, right? Okay. So we say pre-33 is x equals 27 or x equals 30. Okay. And now for the most tricky part, because we do have a condition here, x mod 2 has to be 0 in order to get into line 33. So that means that, the pre-33 is not just this part here, it is actually this part, and also the condition has to be true for the precondition, right? Let's think about this a little bit. Okay, let's just stop here and think about it. Okay, I have to shrink the font one more time. Is that making sense? Now, this part here, x equals 27 or x equals 30, is just coming from moving backwards. Okay. The other part, and x mod 2 equals to 0 is coming from the conditional statement itself. Because I would not be on line 33 unless x mod 2 does equal to 0. So that's why you have to remember to end this part here. I also have to end this part here, except it doesn't really help because in the case of line 36, pre-36 is x equals to 31. And if I do say and x is greater than 30, it doesn't add any more information because x being 31 already implies x is greater than 30. But in this case, by the time we move up to line 33, it does matter. It does matter because of what? Because if you look at the value 27, 27 mod 2 does not equal to 0. So that means if you simplify this step, it gives you one choice left. It basically says that x has to be 30 when you get to line 33. Okay? What about pre-32? What can we say about pre-32? Well, it can be one of two things. Pre-32 means that x can be 30, because that's how we get to line 33. Is there anything else that we can say?
Could it be pre-35? Couldn't it be pre-35? Because you can skip with the 32, that if statement.
Sorry?
Because if the value is going to be 28, you can skip
It won't skip. If x is 28, then it won't skip, and by the time we get out, it's going to be 29, which does not work. Okay? But there's one more possibility. Let's all go all the way back to pre-35. What is pre-35? Pre-35 is saying that x can be 28 or x can be 31. Okay? Can I do this?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Except
Okay.
I was looking for the wrong value.
Because if x was 31 on line 32, then I would have skipped around the action on line 33. Okay, so this means that this is my suspicion. Okay, x can be 30 or x can be 31. Okay, so after that you just have to go forward again and verify that it will give you the answer of x has to be 28 by the time we get to line 37. Okay. Are there any questions about how to go forward with this? No questions? Yep.
Sorry, it's off topic a little bit, but I was just going to ask if there's a set date for the final.
It's on the syllabus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's next Monday. Yes.
So what time?
5:45. It's on the syllabus too.
Sorry.
Okay.
On going forward, you have to specify that if
You have to use all the same conventions, so you have to identify the right-hand side refers to the
Yeah.
left-hand side. The right-hand side has an inverse, the inverse is this, and so on and so forth. So you do have to kind of go through all the reasoning when you're going forward. When you're going backwards, you just kind of have to kind of be a little. You can be a little vague. This is already more specific than you need to be.
I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Why couldn't x equal 27 before?
Okay, because if you trace it, you will know that it cannot be. If x is 27 before line 32, 27 mod 2 does not equal to 0. So that means I'm going to skip around the entire conditional statements. So that means also by the time we get to line 35, x would still be 27.
Oh, I'm sorry, but what does x mod 2 mean? Like, what are you doing?
That's the remainder of x divided by 2.
Oh.
Yeah, that's way back when we talked about factorization,
Gotcha.
how to find a prime factor. That's when we first encountered the operator mod.
Gotcha.
That's why it may be helpful for you guys to kind of write your own notes as you study, because you basically look at all the operators and go like, oh, this is not a really commonly used operator. I'll put it on a little lookup table. Mod means da 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 da. Okay, but you do have to study, which means you have to read from the first module all the way up to subroutines. Okay, we're not doing records in this class. There won't be any questions on records for the exam. Even though we kind of touched on that topic, I felt that we did not talk about it enough to put it in the exam. Okay. So I would just leave this one as this, for the time being, because I do want to kind of move on to other questions, just to show you what the other ones look like. Because going forward, I don't think it should be a big problem.
Are we going to be going over this on Wednesday as well?
Sure. Yep.